Hi.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Y'all, we gotta talk, okay? Bridgerton. I'm gonna be honest, hot take. When the first season of Bridgerton came out, I watched it along with the rest of the world because everybody was just talking about it. It was everywhere. And I started the show and I was like, okay, I get it. This is really well done. Like the vibes, you know, the old time, like the Victorian London, like I love it. I understand. But as I was watching season 1, I'm like, TBH, I don't quite get the fullness of the hype. Like I just, again, thought it was really well done. I thought there were some really attractive people on it. I thought the soundtrack was incredible. Here for all of that. But season 1 itself, I just thought lacked a little flavor for me. I personally just thought it was like a little boring, a little predictable at times. I didn't care about like half of what was going on, like half of the storylines I wasn't really there for. So I finished it and I was like, okay, cool. Like that was fine, done with that. Not done with it, but I was just like a little bit indifferent, okay? And then season 2 came out and I honestly, because of how I felt about season 1, I was like, like everyone was losing their mind about season 2 coming out. And I just didn't really think about it. I was like, I don't know, like I don't really think I'll watch it. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't really have a lot of time for it. I'm a very busy girl. But then everybody was absolutely losing their shit. And so I resisted for like a week or two. I was like, I don't know that I'm into it. But then I sat down and I watched the first episode while I was eating some lunch. And then I proceeded to watch the entire season in one sitting. And it has had me in an absolute freaking chokehold ever since. It's all I can think about. It's every fiber of my being. It's literally my entire personality at this point. I just can't stop thinking about it. It was so freaking good. So I'm gonna try to read the books. I had zero intentions of doing this. I've seen some people like preparing for season 2. I saw some people reading the books. These books, in all honesty, like that type of book, I don't feel like it's something I would ever go for, like a historical romance. But then again, I've never read it, so like who do I don't know. Maybe I would go for it, but it's just not something that I would ever think to pick up. Like I love watching it on the show, it's fun, but like all the terms and the dukes and the barons and the blah, like I don't know, I'm not cultured enough. But I do love the Infernal Devices series, which is a series within the Shadowhunters world, if you know what I'm talking about. It is set in Victorian England and I loved that. I loved the dresses and I loved the way they spoke to each other, and it was Mr. Herondale and Miss Grey and all. I loved all of that. So maybe I'll love it. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm just here to say I'm reading the first book, okay? I got the first book in the series, and even though I didn't love this season, I'm hoping I'll love this book, and I just thought it would be kind of fun to take you guys on this journey as I try to read this book series. This might be like a one-time video and then I hate it and I give up and then we just abandon it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's the point of this all. It's a reading vlog, it's a journey, it's a good time. So I'm gonna start the first book. It is called The Duke and I, and it is Daphne's story, which I didn't know this going into season 2, by the way. I didn't know Miss Julia Quinn was a companion novel queen. My favorite type of series is a companion novel series where it has an overarching story, it follows the same group of people, but each book focuses on like a different person or a different couple. I eat that shit up, and so I didn't know that this season of Bridgerton was going to focus on like, season 1 was Daphne, this season was Antony, and I love that. So I'm really, really excited to see all the siblings' stories if I get through the first book and love it. But yeah, let's read Daphne's story, let's see how it compares to the show. Let's see if I can even get into it. I don't know. It's a journey and you guys are here for it. So I'm just gonna start reading it and I will check in as I go. I don't know about spoilers. I don't know what's happening. We'll just have to see. Sorry. Okay. Okay, hello guys. We are in the same spot, but it is the next day. I totally flew through the first 70 pages of this book last night. I'm on chapter 4 right now. I'm really liking it so far. I don't know why. I just always figured that historical fiction books, just books like this, I just thought they'd be kind of hard to read. Like I thought the language would be kind of complicated. I thought there'd be a lot of like properness. I thought the vocabulary would be out of my range, but it's been such an easy read. Like it obviously has those historical vibes, and you know, the dialogue is a little bit different, but it's been so easy so far. And it's funny having read or having seen the show and now reading it, there are a lot of similarities. Like right off the bat, it is super, super similar. It is cool actually reading it and seeing, you know, all the children explained, and I'm really excited to get to know each of them better throughout the series. It's kind of cool because the story, it is told in third person, which I don't normally love, but it's not really bothering me. It's kind of cool. It is a little bit like dual point of view. We are seeing Simon's perspective and Daphne's perspective. The book actually started out with a good chunk of Simon's perspective in the past, if you've seen the show. I feel like a lot of this reading vlog is just gonna be me like comparing this book to the show. So if you haven't seen the show, I'm sorry, but you know, we do learn about Simon and like his reasonings in the show for not wanting to take a wife and just wanting to be on his own. And we do see like his issues with his father and stuff, but that's like later on in the show. But it has been kind of cool because in the book, it's like, it started out with that right at the beginning, like learning about Simon and learning about his father and how he tried so long for a child, and mother had multiple miscarriages and stillbirths, and then finally gave birth to Simon. And then he had, you know, a speech impediment growing up, and then his father like wrote him off and treated him horribly. So then he now, kind of to get back at his father for being so horrible to him, like wants to be the opposite of what his father wants, you know, like rebelling against him. So it's cool that we're getting to see that from his perspective kind of throughout the story. And then a difference in the book and the show as well is, if I remember correctly, in the show, it's like this is Daphne's introduction into the marriage season or whatever, and in this book, it's a little bit different because she's already gone through 2 seasons and has had several proposals and has denied all of them. So it is kind of similar. Like in the show and in the book, we do see that Daphne has this side to her of like, she knows it's like her duty to get married, but she really has this thing about her where she really believes in true love, and she is like a hopeless romantic. So she doesn't want to just get married for the sake of marriage. Like she wants to be in love with that person as well. So that is something that came through on the show and the book, but in the show it was like her first time going through this, and it wasn't like it had been 2 years of her trying to find a husband. She was like the diamond of the season, and she came out and about, and it was her big premiere. So just like a slight difference. But anyways, I pretty much just got through the scene where Simon and Daphne meet for the first time at the like Lady Danbury's ball or whatever, and I am loving the banter. The banter is so good. I expected it to be really good, but it just works. It's kind of, it's not quite enemies to lovers. I wouldn't call it that at all. It's just kind of like bantering, you know, some bants between each other and some headbutting a little bit and challenging each other. So I feel like I'm gonna really like it so far, and it's going good. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, I have made it about halfway at this point. I'm on page 209, chapter 11. I'm loving this book. It has been so easy to read. It's really funny. I wish so badly I would have read it before I watched the show. Like, I just never thought I would like it this much, and it's really not exactly like the show. Like, it definitely has some differences, but there are parts of it that are very much exactly the same. And I hate that I know those parts are coming. Like, just now we got to the part where Antony caught Daphne and Simon, like, in the garden, and now there's gonna be a duel at dawn. Like, I knew that was coming, and it would have been so much more epic to just read it in the book. You always gotta read the book first, but it's fine. I'm really, really loving it. You know, it's a fake dating trope book, even though it's like set back in time and it's like a historical romance. It's got that fake dating trope, which we all know and love, and it's very much that, okay, we're pretending here, and we're putting on a show, but at some point we start to get confused of what's real and what's not. And you know, Simon's reasoning for not being able to like give her love and not marry her, and her breaking through that barrier slowly, and just the, if it could be anybody, it would be you. Like that whole trope and that whole situation gets me every single time. So I love it. It's funny, like this book, because each book is focused on a specific person, we really are just focused on Daphne. Like that's really the only Bridgerton we're seeing. And then obviously like Anthony's in it a good amount because he's friends with Simon. But like Eloise, we've seen like essentially none of her. She's a really big character in all the seasons of Bridgerton. Like the first season, like she's like my favorite character. But we haven't really gotten to see her very much. And then Penelope has been like mentioned. Colin's character I don't love in the show, but I really love in the book. He's very like witty and had just good banter with him. He's kind of like a smart ass, and he's really fun. I like him a lot. But yeah, we're having a duel at dawn. We're about halfway. Obviously, I know from the show what ends up resulting from that, so I'm not too like stressed about it. But yeah, I'm excited just to continue. I love the tension. I love the angst. I love the bants. And it's a super easy read. I'm excited to get into the books that like I don't know what's gonna happen. So anyways, it's like 2 in the morning on a Tuesday, so I should probably go to sleep. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. I love this book, guys. I almost forgot that I needed to check in because I'm already past page 300 and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta check back in with you guys. It's really so similar to the show at this point. One thing that I was kind of like waiting for and anticipating was to see how spicy this book was gonna be, because if you guys have watched the show, it gets pretty freaking spicy. It's funny because it starts out so proper and like, sir, your grace, whatever. And then like once things get down to business, it was like, oh my God, that was like a huge part of the show in the first season. So I didn't know how intensely that was going to be in the book, or just because like the way the book had been so far, I was like, surely they're not going to be super graphic with what happens here. But I was not disappointed. It hasn't been like super crazy like the show, like it wasn't like a literal montage like in the show, but we've gotten a couple of spicy little scenes and it's very good. It's really like straight up following the storyline of the show, which again, I'm kicking myself for not reading it first because it is really so good and it's just so easy to read. I feel like I'm continuing to say that over and over, but it's true. I just feel like I'm flying through it. So at this point, they've gotten married. They've gone back to his estate or whatever you call it, and they've kind of been in their honeymoon phase, and she finally admitted she loved him, and Daphne's heard his whole story and learned about his father and how he thought he was stupid, and finally she just put the 2 and 2 together, that it's not that he can't have children, it's that he won't have children, and she just like confronted him about that, and it was a big explosion. So now's the part where they bond and she convinces him that he's worthy of happiness, even though he wants to like go against his father and, you know, honor his vow of not keeping the name going. So all of that incoming. I'm really liking it. I'm really freaking liking it, and I'm like flying through this and I'm enjoying it, but I'm like so excited. I just got book 2 in today. So I'm so excited to get to this one. But yeah, let's finish this up and then I will give you my final thoughts. Okay guys, I did it. I finished and I loved it. I really loved it so much. I have a feeling that I'm gonna get so sucked into this series, and by the end of it, I just think I'm gonna be in such a reading slump. I don't want to predict that for myself, but I can just already tell the way that we're getting like little glimpses at the characters, like the brothers. I love all the Bridgerton brothers. I love how protective they are of Daphne. I love their family dynamic. I love the mom. I love Violet, and I love Colin so much. Like, he is my favorite of the brothers so far in the stories. I really like Anthony too. Anthony, sorry, being fancy. But Colin, I love in the book. So I'm really excited to see more of him and to get to his story. But I could just tell, like, we're gonna get more and more of them throughout the 8 books that are in this series, and I feel like by the end it's just gonna feel like I know all these characters so well, and I'm gonna love them so much and see all their happy endings and just see it continue to build. I feel like I'm gonna be obsessed. I don't know. It's funny because I literally obviously watched the show, but I still love the book. Like, a lot of times there have been, like, if I've already seen the movie or I've already seen the TV show, I just don't bother reading the book because I'm like, you already know what's gonna happen. There's been several times that I've watched a show and then I really tried to go and read the book, and I just got bored. I was like, you already know what happens, just don't bother. But I just really loved this. Like, I feel like a broken record, but it was just really well written, super easy to read, there was really no like downtime. Like, it just was a lot of good dialogue, like witty banter. The story didn't really drag at all or anything like that, and I just felt myself flying through it. And then it was the ending. I loved the ending. There were a lot of like quotes I ended up underlining. Like, I love a broken boy. Don't we all? Simon was great. I just loved it. I don't know. I'm being a dork. I'm just gushing over it, but I'm so happy I decided to read this. I'm so happy to start book 2. I'm going to tomorrow, so don't you guys worry. I'm gonna continue this journey of vlogging it and sharing it with you guys, and I'm excited for it. So if you liked this video, make sure you're subscribed to follow along on the journey. But yeah, if you guys have read this book or any other books in the Bridgerton series, I would love your thoughts down below. No spoilers for future books, please. I want to be surprised, but yeah, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!